stop the music. Okay, so I'm sure I've got a button on here for this. Chat. In there. It isn't here. Right, so I am going to switch to a different window. I am going to toggle off this main monitor because I've only got a limited number of actual windows, monitors to do all this. So bear with me one moment while I get the bit that I need up and put it in the right place. And okay, cool. Right, let me make that big. Kind of works, doesn't it? And not too big. There. I think that'll be all right. Right, we'll see how this goes. Right, you should be able to see this. This is the information page for the update. I'm also stalling slightly because quite literally this update only became available at 6:30 in the evening, which is 8 o'clock now, so an hour and a half ago. I only actually downloaded it at 7:30 and it finished downloading at about 22, so it's kind of very fine. But the server, the PvE server that I normally play on, I don't know if it's going to be available or not. But sometimes servers take a little bit longer to do their thing before you actually play. And there's a significant piece of information which we'll get to. Cool. Yeah, I think that was all right, didn't it? Oh, I could do F12, couldn't I? I could do F12 there. Oh, no, not F12. That's not F12, is it? It's F11. F11. There we go. That's better, isn't it? Right. So, 0.6, metabolism, rework, bikes, and more. Get ready. Yeah, so they said that the bug fixes and quality of life missing on the post, but will be listed on the next update. So I take that to be the next post. And then we got a nice picture of a car exploding and a motorbike. Motorbikes, 3 motorbikes. Bits of car. Metabolism. It's been worked on and improved by large margins. An incredible undertaking, and it's still not over. It's a lot to take in, so read very carefully to make sure you have your character as much optimized as possible out there. Keep in mind it's the first iteration, and also keep in mind we tried our best to keep things as they were, but the new metabolism is such a change that a mandatory wipe will be conducted. So they're wiping the server, or wiping the server. The server is wiped. Oh, wax on or wax off. Early access, you can expect this to happen. It's annoying, but it's early access, and you know, if you're going to spend a lot of time building a huge base, expect it to disappear overnight because it's early access. So the stats are now called core attributes. Core attributes, and they work like they did before. So strength. What would you expect it is raised by proper protein intake, executing actions under a load, is lowered by protein deficiency, loss of muscle mass. It influences the carry weight, melee damage, and calorie burning, and ranges from 1 to 8. I don't know what 1 to 8 means, but we'll get with that at some point. I'm assuming that 8 is strong and 1 is weak. Constitution. Constitution, basically endurance and stamina. There's stamina there as well. No. So it's raised by moving in general, walking, running, swimming. Is lowered by not moving, staying still for long periods of time. It influences health points, stamina, damage, and status, shock, poison, etc. Status resistances. Immune system, calorie and water consumption efficiency. So no more driving around in cars all the time if you want to keep your constitution up. Because I can imagine that driving in a car is the same as not moving or staying still, because you're staying still in the vehicle. The vehicle's doing the moving for you. Interesting. Dexterity. How skillful you are at performing everyday and or complicated actions is raised by calorie deficit by losing weight. Is lowered by gaining weight. It influences movement speed, action speed, including crafting, eating, reloading. Ranges from 1 to 5. That's 1 to 5. That's 1 to 8. 1 to 8. 1 to 5. 1 to 5. Intelligence is the capability of perception in successfully performing tasks. Currently, it cannot be raised nor lowered. It influences squad size limit if you are a leader and ranges from 1 to 5. Core attributes, what do they connect to each? But what do they connect to each? Well, the skills of your character. They're familiar things, but let's revise them because it will be quite important for what is to come. So brawling is melee, isn't it? And then you got brawling isn't melee, is it? Brawling is brawling. Okay, hand to hand. Melee weapons. That's basically like fighting with sticks and things. Knives, axes, clubs, other handheld weapons. Is raised by doing damage with melee weapons to players, NPCs, and base building elements, and it influences melee weapon attack speed, available combo attacks, and melee weapon damage. Archery is a skill that enables you to shoot with bows and arrows. It's raised by doing damage with bow and arrow to players and NPCs. It influences ability to use bows of different poundage, faster reload time, faster draw time, etc. Rifles, same thing again, but with rifles, and handgun is basically the same thing again, but with handgun. Running is a skill that shows how athletic you are and how proficient you are at running. It's raised by jogging or running, and it influences you jogging and running. Endurance is the skill that enables you to withstand pain by conserving strength and energy. Withstand pain by conserving strength and energy. Is raised by moving in general, walking, jogging, running, swimming. A little bit higher endurance means less calories and water are needed for body to function. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. How we doing? Thievery, lock picking, and the ability to pick locks. Yeah, so the lock picking is basically when you have a pick and you lock it, so no one can pick your pick. Demolition, stealth. Oh, okay, so stealth is now. Oh no, something else I was thinking. So stealth is raised by moving while in crouch or prone position, and influences the sound produced when moving. So obviously it's about being quiet while you're moving. Driving, same. And throwing, yeah. Intelligence. Oh, all of that was dexterity. Oh, okay, right. Intelligence, awareness, camouflage, engineering, sniping, survival, medical. Right, okay, so awareness is your awareness of what's around it. It's raised by looting various containers around the island and finding new items in your vicinity. And it influences item finding probability, player detection range, flashbang fade out speed, animal tracking, buried item detection range, focus mode activation speed. Camera's there. I didn't know that. Camouflage is obviously hiding, and it's raised by moving in bushes and staying in crouch or prone position while in a bush. Gotcha. So if you're moving in bushes but doing the stealth, you could do the stealth and the camouflage at the same time. Engineering is a skill that enables you to build various building, constructions, and craft items. Sniping is raised by shooting from weapons that have scopes attached on them. Funny enough. And the survival is a skill that indicates how well you're able to survive in the wild. Crafting specific items, filling containers with water, compass complexity, and crafting recipe unlocks. Medical skill and indicates how proficient you are at treating injuries. It's raised by treating conditions and injuries and influences stabilization time, number of required items for successful treatment, which I assume is reducing the number of items you need, because it's not apparently sometimes it's not just one bandage you need, it could be up to 5. So that's the basic principle of everything that we knew, or didn't know, because I'd never read anything like this before, so it's kind of useful. But anyway, so the rework. Look at this page, it looks different. Blues and greens and yellows and black and your red. So they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, so let's go through the new UI. Right, so top left. Core attributes, skills tab. Okay, so that's what we've just been talking about: strength, constitution, dexterity, and intelligence. Oh, that's the 0 to 8. 1 to 8, and then I see. So it's okay, right. And you just click on the tabs and get the stuff you want. Had this before on the earlier game. I just realised that the loading screen, which you can't see at the moment, is actually it's gone to evening mode, so the lighting's all changed. So that's kind of cool. Right, the bit underneath that, so that's this bit here, which I'm struggling to see, but we'll just take it. Basic info, age, lifetime, also known as how much time passed since last respawn. The weight of your character without any gear on, your current health, number of your teeth, and blood type. There's also blood volume and body temperature, but more on that later. Sorry, this headset's actually feeling a bit heavy. I don't really need it. Let's take it off at the moment. Right, okay, so performance data. So that's the bit underneath, performance data, and then we've got body stats underneath that. Nutrition, body reserves, vitamins, minerals, that was there before. Digestion, that hasn't changed, and I assume that's the eating area that we had before. It's the same thing. So performance data, so it gets more complicated, so read carefully. This table is what you want to keep your eye on, so let's get through it. First up, we have the stamina bar. Stamina bar is this top right bar here, and the stamina units, or in short, SU. That's the stuff down here underneath. So you got resting, not quite make it out. Zoom in a bit more. Oh, a bit better. Can be very big writing. Okay, so that's a bit better. Yeah, so resting, passive, effortless, tiring, intense, exhausting. We've got 56 out of 56. Right. Stamina units determine how much actions you can do before you get fatigued. Maximum stamina is directly influenced by your constitution attribute. The higher your constitution, the more stamina you can have. Stamina consumption and recovery, are influenced by action difficulty. The rates are shown below. Action difficulty is a literal representation of how difficult it is to perform a certain action, and it can be seen and heard around the stamina circle bar. Okay, so that's health, stamina, food, and water. Okay, so we've got a yellow bar that's sort of sitting around the blue bar. All right, now the add bar, I forgot what add stands for. What does it say add? Oh, the action difficulty. Right, action difficulty depends on multiple factors. Main thing would be how much gear you have on you. How much gear you have on you. The more you carry on, the more you carry on you, the more difficult it is to perform actions. Factors that also influence it are movement speed, moving uphill or downhill, difficulty of operating not motorized vehicle, difficulty of action performed, drawing a bow, for example. The more strength your character has, the less do all these factors influence the action difficulty parameter. Right, so we have explained the action difficulty and what influences it. So there you have the add table, and how does it apply to it. You can consider the contents of the table as a sort of levels. The table shows the SU consumption, the stamina units consumption, so how quickly you're using stamina units against how hard it is to the thing that you're doing. That kind of makes sense. So if you rest or sit, you will gain stamina units, but in full sprint, you will rapidly lose them. Oh, there's too many O's there. One O. There's just one O there. Now the difficulty comes into place. Let's say you're standing around with no gear. That would count as a passive action. But if you have, let's say, 20 kilograms of gear on you, it would increase the difficulty, and it would fall under effortless or tiring action, depending on your character strength. So if you're really strong, it'll be effortless. But if you're not really strong, then it could be tiring. So is there a thing for tiring on here? Effortless and tiring. How much gear your character can carry without overloading yourself is presented in the gear weight bar. Maximum gear is also influenced by the strength attribute. If you overload your character, you will visually see it as the character being hunched over, and also by having increased energy and water consumption. Jog speed shows how fast you can jog. It is directly influenced by the performance score, and it can also be increased or decreased with raising or lowering the running skill. Raising that. Run speed, how fast you can run. Same thing. Energy, if you're overloaded, your character requires more energy than it usually would. Energy penalty represents how much more energy your character will spend in kilocalories per hour. Energy penalty represents how much more energy. If you need more, if you need more energy. Oh, it's like dusk now. Water, if you're overloaded, your character requires more water than usual. Water penalty represents how much more water your character will spend in kilocalories. So it's how much more. It's not how much, it's the excess. Energy and water is excess. It's not actually how much. Right, okay. I've forgotten it already. And last, in the performance data stats, we have the performance indicators. Do we? Go back up here again. The performance indicators. So we've got healing speed, blood recovery rate, immune system, performance score, stealth, melee, as listed here. So the healing speed shows how fast your body is capable of stabilizing various conditions and injuries. It directly depends on your constitution and action difficulty. Blood rate recovery shows how fast you recover blood compared to your normal blood recovery rate. If you lose blood faster than you can recover it, you will potentially bleed out and die. WIP. That's work in process on that progress. Immune system. Immune system determines how fast you recover from various diseases and how likely you are to get a disease in the first place. They haven't finished those ones though. Performance score is a unit for action execution speed. It influences how fast you can run, walk, paddle, chop, etc. Performance score depends on three things: muscle mass, body fat, and prisoners' weight load. We're all prisoners, in case you're wondering. The percentage is scaled for your current character, and your max performance score valued can be decreased or increased by altering the three things mentioned above. Stealth shows your ability to remain hidden and unheard. If the stealth factor indicator falls, your ability to stay unnoticed falls. Sorry, I got a cough. I haven't used my inhaler. When you use the inhaler, you're actually supposed to hold your breath for about 20 seconds. And I always forget to mention that when I do it. And then I do it and think, oh, hold my breath. And then I can't say anything to say, I'm just holding my breath, I'm all right. So, roughly 20 seconds, but it probably won't be, more like 10 something. Right, okay. That probably wasn't 20 seconds, was it? Right. Have I missed anything? No. Okay. Right, okay, so melee shows how much melee damage you'll do compared to the maximal damage you can do. For example, if you get a penalty on the strength attribute because you have a weakness condition, the melee damage indicator will fall. When you treat the weakness condition, it will return back to normal. Body stats. So that's where your protein, carbs, and all that lot is. That used to be up here on the right. Then you've got bones, blood, intestine, skin, organs, fat, and muscle. Okay, so how fast proteins, carbs, fats, minerals, and it can be, all of these can be influenced by various conditions, injuries, and illnesses. Alcohol, bones, indication of how many kilograms of bones are there in your body at this particular moment. Well, one hopes it'll be the same all the way through. Blood. How many kilograms of blood is there in your body at this particular moment? Blood can be lost by bleeding out, and it can also be recovered. Intestines, indication of how many kilograms of intestines. How many kilograms of intestines? Would that not be the contents? Okay. How many kilograms of fat is there in your body at this particular moment? Fat in your body can be